In this episode, we're going to have an in-depth conversation about time. For the longest time, I was working from a place of time scarcity. I didn't think I had enough time to do what I needed to do in a day. And then I had a little baby boy, and I realized how foolish I was to view time from that angle. And guess what? Just recently had another baby boy. And I continue to get into this conversation of time. And what I realized in looking a little bit deeper in time, because we've all heard it, time is relative, right? But it goes so much deeper than that. And in this conversation today, my goal is to radically shatter how you view time. And this is going to be one conversation around time that you've never heard before. So stay tuned. I'm Adam Cadu, and it's time to master the art of real heart alignment, where you live, work, and play from your personal power as energy aligns, your gifts flow, and life simply works. These life-changing conversations are designed to help you to see what you're not seeing, hear what you're not hearing, and to be who you're not being, as the world needs more heart-centered leaders now more than ever. Are you ready to say no to living a half-hearted life and say yes instead to boldly living from a place of real heart alignment? Welcome to the Adam Cadu podcast. Yo. Welcome back to another episode of the Adam Cadu podcast. Wow, you guys, in planning and prepping and collecting myself for this conversation ahead, I got pretty excited. And also, I will say, I won't say nervous, but I just want to make sure that I deliver this in the way that it was coming through me. Because as entrepreneurs, as human beings, chances are you faced moments in your life before where you felt like you hadn't had enough time. And you hear the quotes on Instagram and all the quotes around online saying we all have 24 hours in a day. How can somebody do something, in 24 hours and somebody else is hardly getting anything done in 24 hours, right? But we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And also Einstein famously talked about time as being relative. And I'm actually going to shatter that a little bit today. I know it's a bold claim. I'm going to kind of go against or have a different perspective or different viewpoint than what Einstein shared about time being relative. So as I mentioned in the intro, for the longest time in my entrepreneur career, it was about money scarcity. I didn't have enough money, didn't have enough money. If I could just have more money, then I can build my team, then I can have Facebook ads. And it was always money scarcity. And until I really started approaching money differently, radically transformed how I viewed it, radically transformed my relationship with money, it wasn't until that time that I finally started to break through. I finally started to grow my business. I started getting out of debt. But it was a tough road because there's so many thoughts, there's so many beliefs, there's so many different perspectives that people are sharing around money that it was hard to decipher what was truth. And then once I, solved the money riddle, all of a sudden I had this glaringly obvious time scarcity issue. I would literally feel anxious throughout the day where I couldn't think effectively because I wanted to get so much done and I needed to get certain things done. I was pushing and forcing and beating myself up because I only got, 2 things out of my 5 things done today, or I said I was going to do something today and I didn't get it done because I was putting so much freaking pressure on myself. And a lot of the times with all that pressure, I was folding. There was a time 2, 3, 4 years ago where I was putting so much pressure on myself, needing to get certain things done, pushing, forcing, needing certain results in a certain time frame. I set these lofty goals and I boxed myself into them, put a lot of pressure on myself, that I had to take a nap each and every day. Like literally, I would wear myself out with pressure. And it was this thought, this perspective, this story of time and lack of time and needing to get things done in a certain amount of time that made me freaking miserable. And then, just like with my money story, I started chipping away and looking at time differently. And if you will, I started to collapse time. I started to shrink time. Not from a standpoint of having less time, but it wasn't a thing in my life. It wasn't something that I even consciously was aware of. I began to train myself to be so in the moment that the whole time conversation was irrelevant. Was it relative? Only if I was relating it to something. Einstein said time is relative. Yes, if I'm looking at two different things, if I'm looking at, hey, look, if I'm sitting by a pretty girl, this is the example that I think he used, a pretty girl on the bench, that minute goes by so fast. It's like, oh, I wish I could have just held on to that minute forever. It just went so fast. And if I compare that to, hey, look, if I put my hand on a hot stove for a minute, that minute is an eternity. Like I can't get away from that, quick enough. A minute's a long freaking time. So yes, if we want to relate things, then we could say time is relative, but that's only when we're relating things. That doesn't mean that time has to be relative. It's a made up concept in the mind. I trust you're following with me so far. So in order to be relative, you must relate it to something. And so take a look at your time story. Are you relating it to something? Are you relating it to where you should be, where you think you should be? Or are you relating it to where other people are? Or are you relating it to where your mentors are, how other people have grown, how other people manage to get certain things done in a day? But what you don't probably take into account is this goes deep. So this is going to be a deep conversation. I know you hear me say that all the time. It's going to be deep. What you don't take into account is so many different things. Your past, your energy, your trauma, your stories, your interpretations, your personality. If I hadn't said that already, maybe I said that. Your attitude, your characteristics and skills. All of these things play in to your concept of time. And if you see somebody else doing something, they had a different upbringing. They had a different upbringing. They have different stories around time. They have different perspectives. They have different opportunities. They have different knowledge and skill sets. They have different capacity in their lives. For some people, it's like, hey, look, I can look at my mentor and say, hey, look, they're crushing in their business. Their business is growing like crazy. That's what I need to do. Some of my mentors don't have kids, right? So this factors in. But right now, even in this conversation, I'm relating that to something else. But what if I just collapsed this whole conversation, this whole concept of time to where there is no time? There absolutely is no time. And yes, we've all heard it before. There's only this moment. But even that is an analytical concept. To think, oh, there's only this moment, so I've got to take advantage of this moment so that way I can get further along the line faster and more effectively and get more money faster and all that stuff, that still gets into the same song and dance. But here's the thing. It's misleading and it's causing you a lot of pain and suffering. Time is simply what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. It's more of a container than anything. Because yes, we have, if you want to look at time from a 3D standpoint, from a bodily human being experience standpoint, we have a timeline. We are on this earth for a blink of an eye, and that's it. And then we go on. So if we want to put ourselves in this container, yes, we have a short amount of time, but what most people look at is only this container. Have you ever saw those Russian dolls, right? They've got one little Russian doll person inside of another one, inside of another one, inside another one, to where there's like 50 in there. And this little doll, there's like 50 other little dolls in there. They all fit into a smaller container. So this container that we're viewing as life right here, right now, that we're putting so much pressure on ourselves, needing to get things done and get it all perfect and, grow our businesses at a certain rate. And if we don't, we're beating ourselves up and all the things. This is just one small container inside a bigger container. And that bigger container is also inside a bigger container as well. So let's just take the whole containers out of the conversation as well. Let's take the containers out. Let's take time out. What do we have? We have energy. We have essence. We have our beingness. And guess what we can do with that? I almost dropped the F-bomb because I'm feeling this. We can do freaking anything. I'll just say freaking, okay? We can do freaking anything when we stop the whole entire world of needing, of lack, of hurrying, of pushing, needing to be somewhere else, needing to be something else, needing to be better, needing to be different, needing to prove, needing to be liked. When we can strip it down and let go of all of that, guess what we have? Our heart, our essence, our beingness. We have love. We have compassion. Compassion, love, it knows no time. The analytical concepts of business and growth and personality and character, yes, that knows time. Or else what we call time. But at the heart of us, it knows no time. So what if, entertain this for a second. What if when we stay energetically aligned with no container, no stories of time, no needing to get it right, no needing to squeeze so much out of the orange, right? We're going to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze this orange out of this life. And guess what happens? We might squeeze the orange, and this is where I'm going to go deep. So grab your seat. We might squeeze the orange so hard in this life because we feel like we need to get so much done. But guess where this feeling like we need to get so much done comes from? For the most part, no, it's not love. It's not God. It's not essence. It's not the universe. It's ego. So if we're going to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze this orange, trying to get the absolute most out of this life to where we feel sick inside, and the whole experience of this time we have on this earth, this container, if you will, is used up beating ourselves up, guess what happens? We create karma for ourselves. We've got to be able to overcome and justify this energy that we put into place here. So we're just making more work for ourselves because that's not what we're here to do. We're here to love. We're here to connect. We're here to expand energetically and help others expand energetically because that's what we're here to do. It's all we do as heart-centered, energetic, spiritual, cosmic beings. We're here to help each other expand. That's what we do when we go home. That's what we do when we come here. So if we put this guilt and this baggage and this pressure on ourselves, we create more karma. And also, even if we do make $1 million in our business and we think we're living our dharma, we're not living our dharma because we're not feeling energetically aligned while we're doing it. And look, I'm all for having, holding yourself to a higher standard. Absolutely. But there's got to be this radicalness of letting go, of acceptance. Yes, be in your 100,000 million %. Be at your best. But be nothing more, be nothing less. And my coaches used to say, it's like, give 110%. Leave it all on the field. I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. I can give it all, but if I give more, I'm probably going to make myself sick. I'm probably going to hurt myself. I'm squeezing the orange too hard. There's nothing left to give. And so if you are the type of person who's a hard charger, high achiever, they want big things, that's okay. But all I ask is in this experience here, you connect with yourself. You love yourself. You have compassion for yourself. You enjoy the ride. because all the pressure in the world, hey, look, if beating ourselves up was the key to success, we would all be wildly successful. We'd have millions and billions and gazillions of dollars. Because I know us heart-centered entrepreneurs, we are tough on ourselves. It doesn't have to be that way. And I can guarantee it, and I do this often, and I've shared this numerous times on the podcast. At the end of your days, long down the road, I can guarantee you're not going to look back and say, man, I wish I was harder on myself. I wish I beat myself up a little bit more. You might say, yeah, I wish I would have held myself to a higher standard. I wish I would have lived in my 100. But it's not about beating ourselves up. It's not about squeezing the orange until the orange runs dry and then continuing to squeeze it. So you want things to happen. That's a good thing. You want to help more people. That's a good thing. Until it's not, until it becomes a bad thing. And so let's erase the conversation of time is relative, because it's only relative when you make it relative. It's only relative when you see other people doing things and you feel you should be at a different place. It's only relative if in the back of your mind you feel you need to be somewhere to prove something to something to somebody, so that way that they'll, trust you and they'll know that you know what you're doing and they'll sing your praises and they'll help you to feel good about yourself. I've been there. Used to do that with my wifey way too long, and even a couple years ago, I started pushing in my business way too hard. And my business wasn't designed to grow that fast. And I pushed so hard that the bolts were coming off the wheels. The walls were shaking. Things were breaking. But it was my ego, my need for validation and verification to say, you are good enough, Adam. You do know what you're doing. You're doing great. It was my need, my desire to be accepted, to be liked in that moment that made me push so hard. And I was miserable and I was stressed and I was on the edge of burnout. And I realized I'm on my own journey. I've got different circumstances. I've got different experiences. I've got different skills. I've got different capabilities. I've got different stories. I've got different beliefs. I've got a different upbringing. I've got a different attitude. Got different personality, different characteristics. I think I said a couple of those twice. It's different, but it's mine. It's me. It's my story. It's my evolution. And my evolution is meant to help others in their evolution. But if I'm trying to live somebody else's evolution and say, I got to grow as fast as they did, and I got to see the numbers, and I've got to be able to do this, that, the other thing, yet again, it's okay if you feel good about it. But if it's causing you misery, it's causing you suffering, if you're doubting yourself, if you're feeling more insecure because others are growing and you're not, do you think you're really going to be able to fully grow from there? No, you grow when you collapse all thoughts of time, when you collapse all expectation. I would much rather you set intentions, use your will to create, and then accept what happens from there. Because when you attach to the results, when you attach to where you need to be, when you attach to the frequency in which you grow your business and which you grow personally, that attachment, as my man Buddha says, causes suffering. And so instead, let's look at this where we can collapse this into matter, right? Because we are, if you will. We do have matter about us, and we matter. The whole Einstein quote as well. What if the key right now is to be solid, to be you, to be in your own flow, on your own pace, on your own journey? Don't push the vehicle faster than it can go, because the freaking doors are going to fly off. And then you're going to have this broke down vehicle that you have to take all this time to build back up. Let it be natural. let it feel energetically aligned. Be steady. Don't settle, but don't push. And when we are present, when I say present, not wishing we were someone else doing something else, somewhere else along in our journey, but pure, powerful presence. No worrying about, your, like I said earlier, your significant other thinking that you need to be a certain place. Do they really think that, or is that something created in your mind? Thinking you need to be somewhere financially. I gotta get out of debt in a hurry, and I've got to, do all this, and I gotta, make all this money, and I gotta do all this stuff. It's fine if you feel good about it. I've got to be fitter. I've got to lose this weight fast. Instant gratification world. I need this new cell phone. I really want this and that, the other thing. Good. It's good to have desire. But if it causes pain, why? Let's collapse it all. Collapse all thought of time and just live. Just be. And therefore, in this moment, with pure, powerful presence as pure, powerful potentiality, because in this moment, when we're not attached, when we're not pushing, we are living into pure, positive potentiality. We are pure, positive potential. Anything and everything is possible in this moment. And when we're in this moment, we are simultaneously fulfilling on our karma. Look, we don't have to have bad things, crazy things, negative things happen to say, yes, we're fulfilling our karma. You can collapse your karma when you're present. And also at the same time, you are fulfilling your dharma. Because why are you here? You're here to connect. You're here to grow. You're here to expand. Not at a certain frequency, not at a certain rate. You're on your own journey. You're here to help others. And it's pure. It's heart-centered. It's steady. And it's deep. Pure essence, pure being. Nothing else matters. So in this moment, feel this when I say this. In this moment, live pure. Live solid. Live in your 100. So is time an illusion? From right here, it does not matter. All right, you guys. Big conversation. I'm gonna let that settle in. Much love to you. I had the idea in mind. I was like, hey, look, I keep saying I'm going to talk about more, sales and business stuff, which I'm excited to talk about, but this literally just was pouring out of me because I was present. I was tuned in. And so I trust this lands with you. And if it didn't land fully, listen again because it's here for you. And here's the thing as well. I do have some cool business stuff going on. And yes, it would have been so strategic and so aligned for me to set this up in a business conversation and then talk more about that. But I'm trusting. And the feedback I'm getting from the podcast, the messages are landing with you guys. So why would I screw that up? If this message is coming out like it is right now, like you should have saw the notes just pouring out of me. I think I had fire coming out of my pen. And I've got to live into this. I've got to trust. I've got to be present to this because it feels good. I don't need to push. Yes, be intentional, but don't push. Don't force. Use your power, but don't force. Be intentional, but don't attach. Be love. Do not fear. And I do. I have a very fun, it kind of feels a little off talking about this, but I'm going to say it. I have a fun and exciting opportunity for you guys to join me on a boot camp experience coming this next Monday. And so what we're doing is I'm going to help you to craft and present your irresistible offer. So that way, the next time you have an opportunity, an audience is listening to you and you want to share your offer, and you want to show up in a new way to where there's not a lot of resistance around sales. Because I know early on for me, it felt so out of alignment when I tried to have enrollment conversations. It was scary. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and I felt like I was making people mad and angry, and the energy was just off. And through time and trusting myself, I really started geeking out on sales. And a big part of sales is presenting offers. There's a lot more to it: handling objections, positioning, messaging, your approach, your energy. There's a lot more to it. We're going to get into a boot camp on, I believe, Monday, April 18th, all around crafting and presenting your irresistible offer. So that way you're beginning to entertain, excite, and enroll more customers, because it's about changing lives. And if you can't get people to see what you see inside of yourself, and if you don't see it inside of yourself, see it inside of yourself first, sell yourself first. And I'm going to help you with that as well. But if you can't see it inside yourself first, how are others supposed to see it when you deliver it? So we're going to get down. We're going to get this offer. We're going to get you set up to where you feel good, you feel inspired, you feel on fire to share your offers and present it in a way that absolutely lands with your people. So if that's you, if you know that you can dust up, improve your offer making skills, which I think all of us can, then join me on this boot camp. There, I said it. I don't feel so bad about it now. I just after this deep conversation, I was like, how do we talk about business after such a deep conversation? But it's on my heart. It's on my heart to be of service. It's on my heart to help. It's part of my evolution to help others to become the best version of themselves in life and in business. And a big part of life and business is sales. You're selling yourself all day, every day, whether you realize it or not. So let's get good at this integral skill. All right, you guys, you can go to adamkadu.com/bootcamp to get signed up for that. I've got some fun and exciting things happening after that. So if the time has passed, if you were a little slow watching this episode, go ahead and go to that link. You'll be redirected because like I said, I've got a couple other trainings that I'm working on right now. These next couple months, we've got some very fun things going. So I'm not going to get into any more of that. I'm going to leave this conversation with you. I'll ask you one more time. Do you think time is an illusion, or does it matter? What matters to you right now? What truly matters to you right now? Focus your attention and your heart on that. All the rest of the stuff, needing to be somewhere else, the attachment to the results, the fear of making mistakes, the fear of not growing fast enough, the fear of people not buying your stuff when you put out an offer, all that doesn't matter. All that matters is how you show up right now. So let's show up. Let's help somebody today, because the world needs more heart-centered leaders now more than ever. All right, y'all. Much love to you. As always, and I don't mean this lightly, let me know how I can help, because I'm here to be of service, and I love every minute of it. I feel it in my heart right now. And I have compassion for you if you are in this conversation not where you want to be. Be okay with that, but also live to your 100. So let me know how else I can help. Much love, you guys. All right. Talk soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Adam Kadu podcast. If you would, take a moment to subscribe and click the bell icon so that way you get notified when future episodes air. Now, here's the thing. If you are looking for the show notes, you can find a link to those below. If you're looking for the handles of the guests that I've been interviewing, things of that nature, you'll find that here. And if there's anything else that stood out to you in the episode, or if there's anything I can do for you, please leave a comment below, or for sure message me on Instagram if you'd like, as I'm always looking to hear what's working well for you and what caught your interest about the Adam Kadu podcast. So, time to go, time to change the world, time to help more people. Are you ready? Let's go do this thing. The world needs more leaders. So thanks again for listening to the Adam Kadu podcast.